Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Plexi Film Show. This is AJ, and I'm going to be talking about Arcane today, and I am with
Quinn Cooper.
Are you excited to talk about this today?
Oh, I am happy as can be.
Are you?
Indeed.
I don't know if you guys know, but I've been watching this show actually starting last week. I mean, I started watching this show my freshman year of college. I'm a junior now. I watched the first 2 episodes and I completely forgot about it. I was interested, but completely forgot about it because I was at my friend's house and I just remember them turning on a different show after 2 episodes for some reason. I was just like, okay, well, I wanted to watch more, but you do you because it's your house. But yeah, I completely forgot about it. And then Quinn mentioned it. I'm like, man, that name sounds familiar. And Quinn was like, yeah, season 2 is coming out. I'm like, I thought that show just started. What do you mean season 2 came out? Like, whatever.
It's a great show. It definitely has a really lot of detail towards, and I think it was a good talk to bring up.
It is a great time because the last 3 episodes just came out yesterday, and we both, Indeed. Quinn and I, watched the last 3 together today, this afternoon. So yeah, we have our knowledge fresh in our brain.
Indeed. At least the last 3 episodes.
Yeah, at least especially the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So, if you guys do not know, Arcane...
Bless you.
Thank you. The synopsis of Arcane is, it tells the origin story of 2 League of Legends champions, sisters Vi and Jinx, and the war between the cities of Piltover and Zaun. So yeah, it's a very simplified synopsis of the story, but it is a really deep story. It tells a lot with each character specifically and their mental and physical states, which are very interesting, I find, in the story,
especially
in my opinion.
With how it evolves alongside with the plot too. They change a lot. Each character has their own arc beyond just the main characters, and it's just fun to watch it.
One thing I realized throughout the story, because usually we're so used to having our characters be pointed out, oh, this is the main character, this is the main characters, and the antagonist, and who's the actual bad guy, and all of that. You get really used to that. But this show, there is no set main character at all, or villain either. It's all over the place. There's something constantly moving. You got to constantly make sure you're listening in each sentence they say. And I like shows like that.
Oh, yeah. Especially sometimes you got to pay attention to the visual details, too. The
visual details a lot. This show has a lot more than I thought. I completely forgot about it because I was like, oh, this show's fine. I can just watch it in the background. No, you got to watch. You got to watch closely and deeply.
Oh, yeah. At the very beginning of the show, I don't know if you'd know this, but should we have to worry about spoilers? What do you think?
Oh, before you get started, spoilers ahead for those who have not seen the show. If you do not want the show to be spoiled, please move on. If not, you're more than welcome to stay.
Sorry. So there's a visual detail that's been going on for a good while. Although some fans already saw it and speculated and, got a good taste of it. At season 1, there was some wolf charms on Vander that hinted towards him being Warwick.
I actually never seen that.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing something on his neck, but I never realized what it was or even focused on it.
Yeah, it's easily passed by, not to mention some comments that were made towards Vander was more wolf-like, and yet here we are, towards the very finale of Arcane, and he became a wolf-like character.
I mean, I just feel bad for Vander's character himself because he's in pain this whole time.
Oh yeah, he just can't get rest.
He's just there. You can't control anything. He's just there.
He died about total 3 times.
Yeah, I'd say so. 3 times. This man can't rest.
No, never.
Why can't they let him go?
He's just a simple bartender dad that wants to have a happy family. No, not for him. Not in this universe.
Just wants to be a father figure. That's all he wanted to be. All right. So who is your favorite character in this show? You mentioned
easy. Victor. 100% Victor.
Victor?
I love the tragic character's downfall, what's it called? Anakin Skywalker. He was a good character, then he evolved to something else. And I love those arcs, especially having to know the character beforehand and afterwards.
It's just the fact the death of Sky ruined him all. He didn't even care about his disease until Sky died.
Yeah. But even then, he was trying to hold it all together. Yeah. And then towards the very end, he got attacked by a missile, and he just had enough. He was not even human at that point.
Poor Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. He's with Chase now.
The ending of the show does remind me a lot about Cyberpunk Edge Runners, where every character dies besides one of the original main characters in that show.
At least a good segment of the original characters, yeah. There's some characters that grow off to have a more of an important role, like Caitlyn. Season 1, she wasn't all that much, but towards the very end, she kind of became an MVP.
It's funny because while watching Season 1, I was like, they better make Caitlyn important. And then I was like, yes, fun, because she's that, like, you know, friend that is like awesome and really kind, there for everyone, and, you know, doesn't let her family or friends impact her or tell her that much. Well, it changes, but like when she first started in Season 1, she really didn't care about how her parents or family saw her, and just kind of, you know, did her own thing.
Mm-hmm. Of course, there was that tragic downfall when her mother got harmed. And that's when the whole fallout and character arc really started to show off for Caitlyn as a character.
To a degree, I find Caitlyn as bad as the personality disorder as Jinx.
Really?
Because they're both constantly back and forth.
I mean, I guess so. Here's my thing. We got to consider the pacing of this show, too. Let's be honest, some of the timing and pacing of the show, such as time skips and some of the dialogue, too, it kind of seems a little bit everywhere, but at the same time, it still doesn't pull away the actual quality of the story itself.
No.
I mean, people still love Caitlyn, at least with her being with Vi, but either at the end of the day, I feel like Jinx is a whole different level. I mean, she's harming people. Caitlyn is doing a little bit less harming.
I was about to say, she's still doing harming, but, you know, it's besides the point. But my favorite character or characters would have to be Vi, Caitlyn, and Heimerdinger. Dude, I love him. He's like that, like, sweet old uncle that would do anything for you.
You know what? That's respectable. I can see that. How isn't he like old, ancient, even?
I don't know. He kind of gave me like Yoda vibes. That's why I like him.
Yeah, Yoda vibes. A lot more energetic Yoda.
Yeah, that's why I love him. He's just jamming, bro.
I also love towards the Act 3. He was in alternate universe and he became a singer for a good while. And he was debating with Echo for a short bit, like, hey, we're in this happy universe where like less people died, more good things happen. And Echo's like, but we need to go back home. He's like, okay, let's do it. After even though he has his own happy career singing his heart out, he's like, okay, let's do it.
Bro just says, let me do, and it's funny because he goes from, okay, let's do it. Compared to the original universe, he's like, no, don't do it. I know the results.
Yeah. You gotta be cautious.
What's your favorite episodes or season?
Season has to be definitely number 2.
Really?
That's where we see a lot of dynamic of characters really showing how much they grow and change, especially Victor. Again, favorite character is Victor, but I just like having to actually see the downfall of Victor. He was a good researcher. He was happy. He was willing to be around, even though he was sick. But at the very end, he's lost it all that season.
I personally find the first 5 episodes of Season 1 the best. Because, one, I personally find Powder better than Jinx.
Really?
Yes.
Well, okay, I'm curious. What makes you say that?
One, like, I was just like, oh, look at how sweet and adorable she is. And then she becomes twisted. Like, I was actually getting frustrated with Jinx. I'm like, bro, your sister is trying her best to help you out and you're denying it. It's not her fault that she got captured. Like, what the heck do you mean? She was just trying to give space between both of you and then gave too much time to the point where she got caught and Silco was there first.
Yeah, well,
it was just bad timing.
It definitely was bad timing. You hate to see it, but it was kind of really conflicting, at least for me and Powder and Jinx, because the tragic event that Powder killed most of her family and friends. It was just she tried to do something good, but at the same time, it was not good.
It was just so adorable how she's like, I tried, didn't I do good? It's like, bro, you killed everyone.
I cried at that scene. It was tragic. It was the most, I don't know how to say it, Very tragic scene nonetheless, though.
That isn't that episode 2 or 3?
I think this episode 2.
It's just very emotional like toll on like your inner child. It's just like, oh, that
We
hurts.
tried, but it wasn't good.
It wasn't good. I promise I'll do better.
Oh, it broke my heart having to see Powder cry. It really did, and that's when you knew Jinx is. You think Jinx
It's
is
funny
not
because throughout episode 1 and 2, because like you said, the show goes by so fast, and you forget something, you're gone. I don't remember how many times Vi says you're a Jinx or the other character says you're a Jinx before Powder turned into Jinx. So when they first announced the name Jinx, when Powder grew up and changed her name, I was like, who the heck is Jinx? Like, where'd this come from? Why'd she just randomly change her name? And I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. She kind of turned away to bullying to actually making it her whole persona. It's kind of sad to see it.
It is, but it's just like, man, that tells you how fast the show goes, and my brain is just like slowly like catching on fire. It's like, you can do this.
Here's the thing too, the difference between Powder and Jinx, it's insane. Even though they're the same character, they have the same, past and everything like that, you could definitely tell there's such different characters. Like even the most recent season with the alternate universe,
Powder was definitely there inside of Jinx.
Exactly. And even then there's like some scenes where her eyes turn blue too, representing Powder returning.
See, I haven't seen a theory I haven't even tried to look for. I wonder if there was like a theory if Jinx could have her natural eye colors again, because what happened, that got her eyes to turn pink was because of Silco dipping her into the same water that he got dipped into. So
right. At least with what I'm seeing in terms of theories, I haven't seen anything like that, but more enough just representation saying, hey, oh my God, it's Powder. It's Powder. But most of the theories I've been seeing is kind of representing what the show will going forward, at least how we'll be going after Arcane, because the show clearly stated it's going to keep on going, but as a spin-off show and with other characters and other focuses beyond just Arcane. And other people are saying, oh, who's going to be in this show? And I'm hearing a lot of characters that are more representing of the Black Rose that we've seen at the very. I
really like the Black Rose idea, so I'm excited to see if they go anywhere.
They're going to go really deep into it. Trust me, there's a lot of characters.
Like the most disturbing thing in the show.
Really? Well, what part?
The whole Black Rose part. Like it's so gruesome, so because it's vines and it's just it's so much more dark than half of the show. Fair,
yeah, it definitely does. Well, who knows what will come next out of it? But there's a lot more characters a part of that group that we will definitely be seeing in the spinoff.
We got introduced a lot when Mel got her powers. So
oh yeah, actually, funny enough, do you recall that 3-eyed crow?
Yes.
Apparently, there's a theory that crow is actually a member of the country that had the Black Rose. And he's a really powerful figure that might be recruiting people for an even larger threat that was Victor.
Oh, interesting.
Supposedly, if you were to know League of Legends lore, there's this, best way I could put it, a Death Knight kind of character that's very unholy looking and very, I don't know how to say it, very broad. He's very strong and he's definitely scary and deadly.
Okay, I'm excited to see where they take it then.
Yeah.
So, like usual, we take our BuzzFeed quizzes or character quizzes that we can find. We took both of them. One, because I first looked it up on my phone and for some reason phone didn't pop up BuzzFeed first, but when I looked it up on Google, BuzzFeed came up first. So we just took both of them anyways. So what characters did you get?
So the first quiz I took was pretty long. It was pretty tough though. I'll take it nonetheless. It was Vi. I once again, another character I am not all that fond about.
I really like Vi. I feel for her a lot.
I feel for her too, but I feel like she's trying too hard sometimes. I feel like she should have just let go of her sister when she pulled away from her for the third time. The second character I got was Chase. Honestly, I couldn't complain that much. He's a pretty cool character, even though some people hate him to this day.
I liked him better at the end of season 2. I liked him at the beginning of season 1, and then in between, I didn't really like him that much. And then end of season 2, I really liked him again.
Yeah.
I don't know. He just kind of seemed like he wasn't there all mentally. I mean, what character is during the show?
Yeah, they go through a lot.
he went from using 100% of his brain to using partial of his brain. Like, I don't know if you noticed that, but he just kind of went from really smart to like kind of dumb. Like, he kind of just...
You talking about the time that he became a council member?
Yeah. He just kind of went from really smart to really dumb. And even when the council, like, exploded from all the disaster of powder and all that, you'd think he'd get better. No, he still has the same brain capacity. Even in, like, the last 3 episodes, he really didn't have much going on. He's like, bro, like, what's going on? And then he finally realizes, and then he finally figures out what he wants to be and who he wants to be and what his original mission was. And it's like, that's what I wanted to be, not this. Mm-hmm. And I like that.
I like that a lot, too. It's I don't know how to put it, but it's definitely complex, and I like it.
All right. You're going to be very surprised with mine.
Oh, boy.
And it's actually pretty scary because the character I would relate myself to the most, I don't know if you can see it, but I'd say I relate myself more to Vi. Mm-hmm. Like, character-wise, I feel like I can match, like, Vi is me. Mm-hmm. Like, I can see her. But the characters I got were Jinx and Caitlyn.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
The 2 characters that hate each other the most. Ooh, okay.
That's why I said the complete opposites.
I feel like we got each other's answers. I feel like I'm more of a Jinx than more of a Vi. I choose the most chaotic answers just to have a fun story to tell.
Here, let me read the bio that they gave me, because usually when it comes to creating these quizzes, they have bios and
I should
stuff.
have read it. I got so thrown off by me being declared a Vi.
All right. It says, you are like a real-life Jinx with a thrilling mix of unpredictability and charm that keeps everyone guessing. Your energy is infectious, and your knack for mischief always keeps things interesting, and you're definitely the one to watch in any crowd. See, reading that bio makes more sense to me then, because I've been told I am very easy to point out in a crowd.
Oh yeah, especially with some of your style, like your beanie, your pink beanie.
We don't talk about that. Okay. Well, we
don't have to go into the details, but it's a very hot pink beanie, and it's very noticeable.
Very, and it's funny because I chose this hat because it has a bunny on it, and Jinx has a bunny.
True.
So it works. Let me...
Oh, yeah. Where's the Caitlyn one? Do you have the details for that one?
I took a screenshot of it, so let me get to that real quick. Sorry about it taking a long time. All right. So Caitlyn's bio is, your personality matches Caitlyn. You're loyal, sincere, and compassionate like Caitlyn. You may have, had somewhat a sheltered upbringing, but that has only made your sense of justice and drive to help others.
I can see that. Definitely, I guess. And which quiz was that?
The BuzzFeed one.
The BuzzFeed one. That interesting, especially for that being the shorter quiz too.
Yeah. I mean, the questions definitely add a factor to that, because I don't know if you remember how many questions there was in the first one, and a lot of them were like D&D questions. It was like, what would you do in these scenarios? I was like, okay, I don't know, none of these matches on what I would do, but okay.
Some of them were very stereotypical questions, like, oh, let's analyze this situation, while others like, hey, let's go, go in a blazing fire with our actions.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. Well, are you ready to take a break, and then we'll come back with theories?
Sounds good. All
right. I'll see you guys on in about, we'll see you guys back on at 10:30. Gives you guys 10 minutes. I'll see you guys on.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to WXUT 88.3, Toledo's only alternative. And I'm back to talking about Arcane. And I'm with
Quinn Cooper.
Sure am. Are you excited for these theories that we are able to find? Because theories are hard to find for a new show, because usually theories don't come out until the show's fully done most of the time. Mm-hmm. Usually the quote theories are about what's coming up next rather than just inside theories about the show.
Right. We gotta let them cook.
So this isn't really like a theory. This is already well known, but it's just like Powder's fear of an abandonment.
Oh, yeah.
throughout the whole show, like that's pretty much what it's going over. So if you don't know, she lost her parents, both Powder and Vi, way before. And then Vander, quote, adopted them. And Vander was like their father figure for the longest time. They don't really, well, especially Powder. Powder doesn't remember her parents that much at all because she was really young when they died.
Right.
So, when it kind of starts out with how Powder always looked up to Vi because she's the only one that's left in her family other than Vander, and Vander's not really like their actual father. So,
I mean, not to mention she had to look up at two very strong figures. Vi that usually gets into plans out mishaps with her friends while wanting to go into combat, fist focus.
Yeah.
And her father figure, Vander, was also known to be a big burly dude that's known to be more enough in melee combat.
And altogether, that's her family right there.
Yeah, like even in the opening of season 1, Arcane, in the opening it was kind of shown that she was trying to be like them, trying to be physically strong, but knowing how she is physically, it isn't going to be all that possible. And it was a nice dynamic she had with all those characters.
Yeah. And it's funny because to prove that her self-worth, you would see like many stuff that she would do to prove her self-worth. Because, Vi knows how good Powder is as a character. She's like, oh, she's little, she can only do so much, but she's good for her age. But, the others are like, they don't care how young she is. They just think they should be as good as they are. Like,
especially that, and especially how she was reflected as a young kid, and Powder said, hey, if I'm not going to be strong physically, I'm going to be strong mentally. And she decided to be tinkering with gadgets.
Which is actually very smart because she uses those gadgets really well as Jinx and taking as advantage.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned it. She tries to, incorporate her life and doing all the things that others are doing. It's just like her fear of missing out and being alone. She doesn't want to be left alone. She wants to, be out there helping others. That's what she wants to do, is help others and help her family, because who else does she have?
Right.
So, once she was told not to help, that was just like, why? Like, why are you leaving me here? Why are you doing this to me? I'm your sister. Like, what are you doing? And it kind of took a mental toll because she was like, am I really that bad? Should I get better? Like, what do I do? Like,
right. And just led her in a whole downward spiral towards self-hatred, really.
She kind of just falls into like a huge panic attack, which the show shows really well. By the way.
Oh yeah, especially there's a change in animation of that best hope, shows her mental state, like more jagged animations that are more choppier than how it is typically in a smooth show throughout the entire series.
Yeah, and that shows that she has schizophrenia, which is fun.
Voices in her head.
We love voices in your head.
Yeah. Oh, a little fun fact about that as well. There's a theory that Isha doesn't talk because she doesn't want to become another voice in her head. If you think about it, she's the only character that she really interacted with that really never speak or had representation in her schizophrenic moments.
I'm not going to lie. When she was about to, destroy Vander, I thought she was going to say one line, her only one line. I thought she was going to say something really funny or just, just something to make it iconic, like her goodbye or something. But no, she just didn't say anything. Which is smart because, like you said, it'd be another voice in her head and it'd be another mental toll on.
True.
Even though it's still a mental toll, but it's not a voice that's going to be in her head.
Oh,
it's going to be rather action, which is still impactful, but not as.
I guarantee her last words were bang or.
I think it was.
Yeah, but with the audio being lower, you couldn't hear it.
And the voices that you constantly hear in Jinx's head is like, I am alone, I am not enough, constantly over and over in that first panic attack that we see. And then she goes from that like, why did they leave, to why did they leave me here, to I can help them. And then everything goes silent. And that is her way to coping, like, I can actually do something. And that like changes her mental state to actually doing something that she thinks would be good. And then reality, it turned it out to be the worst possible outcome.
It was quickly reflected on with the last schizophrenic moment we had with her, which was her being in the prison after, you know, the events with Isha and Vander. She was just in the jail cell and she had a like memory of Silco talking to her, even though Silco already passed, and he was like blue for some reason. But either way,
his eye was blue.
His eye was blue, and
maybe that was like a representation of Powder's vision. Like maybe that's actually like Powder's mental state. Like, you know how she has schizophrenia, so she's going to interpret things different than what actually is said.
Oh, yeah.
So it's probably like Powder's vision of what Silco said. And that's probably, because if you think about it, Powder, when she had that breakdown after being the second breakdown, so it's like when Vi said, you're Jinx, like, this is who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Powder went to the worst possible outcome, which is her affection. So like, you know, for a kid that young, that's who she could get affection from, which is anyone. And so it tended to be a bad guy. But she, as like I said, with the blue eye, it kind of just switches to the young Powder idea. Like, this is my idea of what Silco was at that time, but not anymore.
Now that you think about it, that makes so much more sense. I was like kind of weirded out. Like, why is he blue?
That's what I thought of. Sorry if that was really confusing. I was trying to word it.
No.
It was just not
honestly,
coming
it made a lot more sense than how I was piecing the scene together. But back to what I was saying, her last schizophrenic moment is when she was talking to Silco, and Silco brought up the idea of like, oh, how about we just change how we usually are? How about you just not be around? And she took it in the wrong way. And obviously we got to the next scene with her and Echo, with him having to do with time travel and explosions.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed this, but I took it this way. So when Powder, you know, not like lays her head on the gadget that she made before the whole disaster goes down.
Which one?
Powder. And before the explosion happens.
Yeah.
So like, you know, the gadget, like the first gadget, like she lays her head down as in like an affectionate way. And that is like her way of showing affectionate, like, I hope you work, as in how Vi looks at Powder, like as an affectionate way, lays her head on her shoulder.
Wow. That totally passed by me.
So I just thought that was like really adorable.
The amount of like small details they add. There's a certain song, I forgot what it's called. It was a song that just played not so long ago, funny enough.
Yeah.
That song, if you can ever recall that, it's like a slow jazz kind of music. Basically, at the very beginning of the series, that song plays when Powder's walking into the bar with Vander. And that same song's played again a season later, where the flashback of Vi's mother, Vander, and Silco were all together at a bar talking about their like
that
past
makes
together.
sense now.
It does make sense. And they talked about the very beginning of their like life, while it is also the very beginning of our lives, seeing Powder's life.
It's funny because I thought it was funny because you mentioned this too, because you were confused. I was like, I thought it was pretty cool that we got to see Silco at the bar again.
Oh, yeah.
You're like confused. I'm like, yeah, this is a different universe. You're like, oh, yeah, but.
Yeah, I was like super confused. Like, why is he yellow? We've seen a total of 3 colors: yellow, red, and blue.
We're confused. I was about to say, I'm like, yeah, yellow was his original eye color from the original scene.
Fair. Yeah. I forgot about that. I thought he was just always evil with the red.
No, I mean, it was always like an orangish yellow, so. So, going back, it's kind of just finishing up, with, after all of that, it just spirals down to Powder turning into Jinx, and she's alone, she has no one else in her life, and she realizes that. So when anyone comes her way, she's going to give affection to either good or a bad person. So I don't know if you realize, once she's all grown up as Jinx, you realize how much Jinx is laying her head on Silco because that's her only person to lean her head on because it's someone else that just took her in and took care of her, even though he manipulated her to turn into what he wanted as a daughter rather than who she is.
Right.
Which is insane and very sad.
It's sad and it's interesting. Another fun fact. You remember the flashback scene with young Silco Vander and Vi's mother?
Yeah.
His hair, like his little bang hair, was similar of how Jinx has her bang hair.
I can see that, yeah.
And he dressed Jinx's hair to be a lot more similar to how he was when he was younger.
Which is also a little adorable. Like, I feel like honestly, like, you know, if it wasn't for Vander turning into, you know, Silco evil, like you can even though Silco's evil, like the way he talks, you can totally tell he still is a good person. So like, I never really thought him as a bad person. Maybe he's manipulating me in the real world. I don't know. But I personally think he had a lot of like good attributes in him.
Oh yeah. I mean, he genuinely did care about like Jinx. Powder, Jinx.
Whatever you want to call her.
At the end of the day,
it's just a switch to tell which personality she's representing.
True. There is a definite difference in personality. Yeah. But either way, he really did care about her. Even after all the trauma she's went through, after all the events they went through, he still stuck around and still just wanted to be there.
Even though like his own team wanted to kill her.
Yeah, yeah.
She was like, we're not killing our own kind. Like, what are you doing? Like, no.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I thought what made me realize that he was really evil is when one of his team members was a mother and her son died, and it was because of her. And he was like, "Oh well."
A little bit of a whoopsie. Oh well.
I just thought that was funny. I'm like, okay, that made me realize how bad Silco was.
Yeah. He's only good towards the people he cares for.
Yeah, which makes sense. Let's see here. How Arcane wrote a psychosis in the film, like in the show, I should say. That's the next theory. Like I said, Powder was forced to grow up quickly.
Oh yeah.
Powder has a lot of insecurities and abandonment issues. She lost family at an early age and is afraid to lose anyone else, no matter what the situation is. She loses everyone anyways because of her own actions.
Yeah. The only person that really stuck out and wanted to keep on being with her was her sister. Was just the sweetest thing we could ever see out of that entire series.
That's why I say Vi was perfect.
She's alright, but nonetheless, she's
all right. Why? Okay, you gotta explain to me more. I'm tired of you bashing on Vi. You gotta explain why. What made you not like Vi?
I just feel like,
or why
it comes while it is sweet for her to stick around for wanting to be with Jinx, comes to a point when you're actively harming others to we're like, okay, is it a lost cause or is it just me?
She never really harmed anyone that in her own kind, though.
Not really, yeah, but
she really
the only person that would really be like the borderline of that is Caitlyn.
Yeah.
And even then, even Vi recognized that and said, hey, that's a big no-no.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's why for the longest time, Vi was like, no, I'm not going to do that with you. Like, no, why would I go against my own people?
And that's like the most interesting part about the series, the dynamic between Vi, Caitlyn, and Jinx.
I consider it like, what did I said it a couple weeks ago.
Oh no!
Romeo and Juliet. It was like Romeo and Juliet. They're complete opposites of each other, and like the quote forbidden love. Even though it wasn't forbidden, but it was like the rich and the poor that fall into love,
rich
and it was
and poor, red and blue,
just looked down upon rather than up.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that was very interesting.
There's so much dynamic and visual details. Everyone loves about it. You don't see that commonly.
When the creators and companies actually care about quality instead of quantity in a short amount of time.
Yup.
Powder was never like given a chance to be a true kid, which was very sad.
Yeah.
Just because of situations, not just because she had terrible people in her life. she never was given it.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of comes hand to hand with her having to quickly grow up. And she was raised in an environment where she kind of had to, nonetheless.
Yeah.
It's very well reflected in psychology that if people have to quickly grow up, they're still going to have some personalities or some methods of that is still childish in some sort.
I'm going to bounce off of that here in a second.
Oh, okay.
So that goes along with, like, even when she's a teenager, she still acts like powder.
Oh, yeah.
She still has the, you know, a lot of the stuff from her childhood, either made or not made, aka, like, if it goes back to the dinner scene, a lot of that stuff is stuff from her childhood. Like the bunny, the cups, the gadgets, like just all of her toys. And it's funny because in the theory about this as well, it dives into how she copes with the stress, and she does the same like mannerisms. Like it's so really like interesting.
Very much so.
Sorry if that was confusing. It was just
No, I
find it really interesting. Like how she copes would be the same as when she was younger.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's just there. From the sound of it, it's just typical coping. I mean, everyone has their different ways of coping. While it is like focusing on like a certain hobby you have, or if it's entirely switching up your personality. In this case, she's just really dead hard focused towards her research of like gadgets and tools.
I kind of wish it could have gone more in depth, like what made her get introduced into gadgets.
I just think it's just broadly enough that she knew she was never going to be as physically strong. Because even that's reflected on Vi and Jinx's fight. Even if like Vi has a giant gauntlet for fist, Jinx still has an upper hand of having diversity in her like abilities. A rocket, a grenade, a fist to fist, or teleportation with the what's it called?
I think
she got dipped in. The thing that made her eyes pink.
I don't know what it's called, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can look it up here in a second, but keep on going.
That kind of gave her another ability of just being super quick and able to dash. While she isn't always like physically strong, she's like stronger mentally and versatility of like how she can use her like own abilities.
Shimmer, that's what it is.
Shimmer, yeah. Shimmer has been used a lot in different ways, and it's interesting.
It's funny because you don't really see it much in season 2 because they, you know, even Silco's like, okay, we'll stop. But the Shimmer is what she was dipped into, which was the lake that, you know, Silco was drowned in. I'm
very surprised how diverse Shimmer was used in the show.
It was very uniquely. Some of it was like even in like contraceptives, like cigarettes, alcohol, like it was Shimmer. It's crazy.
Shimmer, yeah. I mean, not to mention you have different characters like Silco and Jinx. They still survive and they still look, you know, normal. While you have other characters like Vander and that one side character, I can't recall his name, the blonde dude.
I think it's because there's different stuff added to it and amounts of quantity.
I was definitely going to say definitely different amounts because they had it all over them. But so did Jinx, didn't she?
Oh, she was just drowned. It wasn't injected.
Fair. Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
But, like I said, she suffers, you know, from hallucinations and schizophrenia. She sees in this state of, with all that when she's suffering through it, like, cause it's whenever it's like there's conflict or like, what's the word when you're bantering? Conflict. It's another word for conflict, but she can't deal with it well. So she starts going through these like hallucinations. That's whenever she goes through.
Oh, a dilemma.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. She starts seeing faces of people that she's killed, which is common, aka the two friends. Just the friends in the group.
Oh yeah, the two young friends. Yeah.
Which is very sad.
It is very sad. I was also have to say it's very interesting to see them again in season 2. Out of all the characters, they really have a reappearance. Those two I wouldn't be expecting, but they did. They showed up and they added a lot more detail towards their character. Like I think they shipped them too.
Yeah. It doesn't help that she has all these issues. Well, one with the events, but it doesn't help that Silco also, she's a shut-in. She's forced to stay inside. She has no outside friends. She has no one to support her. So she's just dealing with all of this all by herself.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, she's forced to grow up and didn't really have a childhood. So she didn't really have that grown-up figure. Her grown-up figure was never there either.
Yeah.
Because it was Silco, because, you know...
It wasn't a real foundation of a character to really be a father figure.
Yes.
You had Vander, then you had Silco. Well, Vander, then Vi, technically. Silco, and is there anyone else that we can really point out? Yeah,
not really. Kind of just herself.
Even then, the only time that she could really say she got into like the parental role was with Isha. And it's interesting to see that. She really did enjoy her time with that character. She was really heartbroken when she had to go.
I thought how they first met was so funny because you could totally tell it was heavy Jinx. Didn't care what Isha thought of her, just said whatever was on her mind, and I thought that was funny.
Oh yeah, I like that too, especially how it evolved to being more powder, being with Isha more too. Mm-hmm. It's such a sweet dynamic.
Isha was more powder, and then Jinx was Jinx. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was like, man, that's literally a mini powder right there.
Yeah,
just with no words.
Yeah,
because even she'll be like, fight, and Jinx is like, no. Because I found that adorable. Like, I don't know what episodes those were, but like when it was specifically Jinx and Isha, like like it was like the whole episode, I think, and. Even Jinx is like, I don't want to do this anymore. Mm-hmm. And then Isha was like, fight, let's do it. And Jinx is like, no. That's not me anymore. And I thought that was cool because even Jinx said, I'm not Jinx anymore. I'm powder. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hold up.
Absolute cinema.
Wait a minute. I was like, this is awesome. She admitted that she made a choice right there.
It's the biggest change we ever seen in terms of her continuing being Jinx or not. She made it her whole personality. Now she's wanting to go back on it.
It's funny because that dinner scene was her first actual choice that she made by herself instead of forced by others.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Very.
There was also a lie that was forced into Jinx's mind of, you know, Vi not actually trying to save her while, because Silco was like, oh, your sister's not trying to save you. Your sister doesn't care about your sister hates you. And I was like, you know, he lied to you, right? Like, why would I be doing all this if I didn't care about you? Like, what are you talking about?
True.
And even when Jinx killed Silco, she was sad, yeah, because, you know, that was her somewhat father figure. Is dead, so she cried over that, but she's like, you lied to me.
Yeah, but you got to think of the positions that she was. She's still going through so much turmoil and didn't have a figure, but yet just that one singular figure that was Silco. If she were to try to lose that and think something else, she wouldn't have that figure anymore.
That is true. There was also a fight scene, I completely forgot about it, where it's actually surprising because this fight scene is very important, is when Jinx finds someone that has the same hair color as Vi and she freezes, like she completely freezes. And then she realizes like she's going through all these like flashbacks. She's like very like, oh, like it's just a trigger for her. Like, oh crap. I just thought that was like really cool.
Yeah. On an unrelated note, I feel like it's very interesting to point out the other side of the story, which is the upper city. And mostly focusing on the character dynamics between Heimerdinger, Jace, and Victor. Victor and Jace, they discover Hex Tech and they basically make a whole new armory of this technology. Heimerdinger's like, hey, no, don't do it. And they did it anyways. Besides him just being the senior of their research, it's just interesting to see how it evolves to a miracle, to an invention, to a tragedy, onwards to a curse.
Yeah.
Especially with Victor. And Victor
I feel so bad for Victor.
What do you mean?
Like I said, he was such a good character and then he got brainwashed by his own experiment.
Yeah, he really did, but you gotta think about it. He had the mindset of, I'm weak, I need to find a way to improve me into
It's just sad society. That he even convinced himself like I would just pass away. Mm-hmm. And then
yeah, both of them, even Jace too. It was funny, but kind of sad. well, mostly sad,
Yeah.
that how they were really looking down at their own invention, and they both say the same line, like, "Oh, am I interrupting something?"
Yeah.
But
That whole scene was peak relationship for them.
oh yeah, well, for me, I will forever fall in love with this one scene with the series. Was when Victor had that one like dark magic leg. Knowing the character beforehand, he had a cane and he had a struggle with walking.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, whenever he got that leg, he raced a boat with that leg, and he was able to catch up with the boat before he could.
That was so cool.
It was so cool, and it was reflected off that one scene from episode 1, I think, when he was a young kid.
Yeah.
He could have done it with simply a cane in his own legs, and kind of reinforced the idea that with the Arcane involving society, evolving him, he kind of got his own self brainwashed beyond just the Arcane.
Oh yeah.
He's already going
I'll
through
say
that.
he already accepted from that one guy, like that's or when sorry, I'm trying to explain. You know how when he's chasing the boat, he like sees that one guy, and that threw me off. Like,
The doctor?
yeah, that threw me off. I was like, whoa, that is cool.
That is cool. I also thought it was cool how his own experience that was represented towards Victor, like the creature, he gave him medicine. He was like sick, he was dying. But yet the next day he was feeling good. He was happy. He was alive. But then towards the very end, he quickly passed away. And it represented all of Victor's ideas of the Arcane being a part of society.
Yeah.
It looked good at first. Then it died.
All right, let me finish up the theory and we will take a break. All right, so there was a point in time, you know how Jinx got to a point and she has like a flashback to when Vi was like, if you ever need me, use this. I'll come to it. And it's the flare, right? And when Vi is actually safe because she was battling at that moment too, which took her a long time to get there. When Vi saw Jinx, she called, it's Jinx's actual name's Powder, and, Vi always called her Powder or Pow Pow. So when Vi came back and said Pow Pow, that like switched to Powder's like brain, and it was just like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
She just got really emotional and was just like, yep, I love my sister. I just thought like that was a very intimate, like such a loving like sister relationship. It was just amazing. I loved it. It was just great.
Oh yeah.
It was just like, because it goes from that to Caitlyn and it just switches because, like I said, she has schizophrenia, so she thinks Caitlyn as a threat just because of her uniform. And she would, I don't know if you remember, it visualized Caitlyn as an evil, like with the devil's horns, and as like she was evil, even though Caitlyn's like, hey, I'm here to help. And even Caitlyn's like, what? Your sister's Jinx? What the heck, man? Why didn't you tell me this before?
Right.
I feel like that out of all things, I would do admit that was heavy Vi's mistake. We should she should have
considered
to tell Caitlyn that.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for that, there would have been a lot more simpler things.
Oh yeah. Caitlyn would have definitely worked out with Jinx instead of just questions like, oh, I'm trying to help. I don't know. It's all new to me.
Yeah. That whole thing kind of like broke Caitlyn for a long time because she was like, you didn't tell me. Why didn't you tell me? What was the purpose of doing all this and you not telling me this information? We're partners. So you could totally tell that, which ruined her, which found her love for Maddie. So at that moment, but Caitlyn never really loved Maddie, dude. Maybe for that one specific scene. Other than that, I don't think there wasn't another
relationships. It was just a lay-on relationship.
Yep.
It was definitely reflected afterwards. Like even if they try to act more like a relationship after that one scene, Caitlyn just didn't care.
Caitlyn's like,
she instantly went back to Vi.
I'm okay with that. I still ship Vi and Caitlyn. I don't know who you ship when it comes to all the different relationships.
Easy.
Or who?
Victor and Jace.
Of course you would ship them too.
Listen, they have an interesting dynamic. Similar to what I said to you before. What's that face? Girl with the yellow power.
Mel.
The love triangle of Mel, Jace, and Victor. It's interesting. And even if it might not be, blatant, It's pretty obvious. There's tensions there.
I'm just saying Mel was way better. Too good for Jace. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense. It's kind of like celebrity love. They're both good looking. They both have high positions. They both celebrity love. They have good position, and if they were to be together, it would boost up their reputation.
Yeah. All right, you ready to take a little bit of a break?
Yeah.
All right. I'll give you guys till 11:10 to take a break. So I'll see you guys on at 11:10. We're going to be continuing on with the soundtrack of Arcane. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, because as much as we enjoy it, hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Because I definitely like this show. I love it a lot. It's a really good show. It's a show that I never thought I'd really get into.
You're welcome.
I'm glad you reminded me. All right. This is AJ with the Plexi Film Show. See you guys back on at 11:10.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to WXUT 88.3, Toledo's only alternative. And I am back with the Plexi Film Show and talking about Arcane.
Arcane.
Who's excited?
Me, Quinn Cooper.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh. All right, we are going to be continuing with theories. Do you have any theories that you haven't talked about yet, or would like to talk about ever since you have 20 minutes left, because you have your time of leaving at 11:30 like usually?
I do. There's a lot of theories. Here's of what I've seen so far that us always, not regarding this show specifically, but going forward, there's a lot of talks of what nation, because there's obviously more than just those two nations in that series.
Of course.
Of what will be next, what will be mostly focused, and who will show up. And from what a lot of people are speculating is that, I keep forgetting her name.
Mel
is possibly.
You don't really hear her name that much. It's just, you just hear the mother's name all the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I hear Bessa more than her. But either way, there's a lot of theories about her being like Marvel's version of Nick Fury.
Really?
Like the character that would reoccur and to bring everyone together.
So she's the only reoccurring character?
Possibly. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of the main characters of Arcane are no longer together. Like, at least most of the important ones besides...
That is true.
Yeah.
Jinx has passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly. Rest in peace. Or at least to what we know. She could be alive.
There's another theory about that, but I'll get into that later. The only characters that would stick around is possibly Vi and Caitlyn.
I'm okay with that.
Unless, of course you would.
There was a...
No. But would you think there'd be any other characters that might recur again? That is alive, that we know?
Echo.
Oh, I forgot about
Echo, of course.
I would wonder if he'll have any plot relevance, because he has the main power of time travel. Yeah, but Hammerdinger's, AOP.
He's technically not part of the council anymore, so who knows what happened.
True. Oh, that's another thing. That one girl with the one arm, she's part of the council now too.
Yeah.
She's, I guarantee she's representing the Down City. But she's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
There's another...
Mel's still in it somehow.
Yeah.
After everything she went through, I'm not at all surprised. She's probably probably the best council member they had.
Yeah, definitely.
Besides Hammerdinger, but...
Yeah, I miss him. What was that one part?
Jace's fault, that's all I gotta say.
Hey, don't say that. Jace was right. Quick question though. You brought up something that... Well, you brought up something that was a theory. Oh yeah, Jinx's fate. There's a lot of people speculating that Jinx might not pass away. Do you remember that scene where Caitlyn was looking at the sculpture of the building that they were in?
Yeah.
So right where Jinx, disappeared with Vander or Warwick, there's a lot more further down level. Like there's secret passages too. Mm-hmm. People are speculating, Jinx might be in those secret tunnels and she might appear again. And it's a possibility, but...
And knowing her state physically, especially at that moment, she was doing fine physically.
Mentally, no.
Mentally, no, but like, as in with all the time she falls and all that, in that moment, she was probably fine. And with Vander's protection, she probably just bounces off his stomach or like...
Vander's current state, he was quietly a walking medal.
That is true.
I don't know...
That is true.
Yeah, I don't know how a grenade would stop him, honestly. I can't.
Depends Could be what's all I can think of is The Last of Us. I forget what it is, but it's in the game The Last of Us where they throw like nails, thumbtacks, like anything like metal, like screws, like tiny things that can go in a can and it explodes. Oops, sorry. Yeah, it sounds like that. That's what it sounds like. Sorry, I'm heavily talking with my arms right now. I don't know why, but
you're deep into it. Keep really it going. Preach.
But yeah, I feel like that would, considering it would impale it to a degree.
True.
It probably wouldn't like kill him.
It wouldn't.
But it'd definitely make a dent.
It would. But similar to what I was going to say, you would know this since your show is all about film. Every scene matters. And why would Caitlin show that one scene if it was right after Jinx's, disappearance?
Don't know.
Drumroll, please.
Don't know. We don't know. We don't know until the future sub-series comes out.
Yeah, and they're really building this out to be the next MCU from the looks of it. Based off of one movie or show.
It's going to be the ACU.
ACU.
Arcane Cinematic Universe.
I could see it, the finale. We're like, okay, everyone, time to Arcane or something. And they're going up the main baddie.
That would be funny.
We Arcane together.
Hey, me and my boys when we Arcane together.
There's a lot of characters though, so it's gonna be interesting to see who's all gonna show up.
For sure.
And who's gonna be retconned, because they changed up the lore of I was gonna say the Lorax. We're not talking about the Lorax. The League of Legends lore compared to Arcane lore.
Yeah.
Jinx is still, around in that lore than Arcane.
I'll talk about that here in a second.
Oh, spoilers, okay. Go on.
Also, do you have any theories that you would like to talk about? Because I want you to talk because you're going to be leaving. Mm-hmm. So I'd like you to say what you want to say before you go.
As of right now, the only big talks I've been hearing right now is Jinx's fate. Because, people love Jinx. And people also think about Isha still being around, but
I really don't think so. Being right under Vander at that moment and with that explosion, no, she's gone. She gone. She's dust.
She's a child with a wee baby in a little warfield.
Yeah, no kidding. So Arcane killed League of Legends.
Oh yeah, the game is trying to become the series, but it's interesting. Like even the promotional material, and the promotional material that they use in the game,
you know why?
Is starting to replace the series.
So what they're doing, this is part of it. I'm jumping in. So what they're doing is any future projects, Arcane is the new canon timeline.
What?
Yes.
So what are they going to do with the current one?
So with the original League of Legends, it's just not going to be like canon because there was never really like a canon because there were so many League of Legends timelines to the point where it's so messy. They never really had a full potential canon. So I feel like that's why they're like, this is already built. This is already structured well story. True. This is going to be the canon timeline. So
I like that. I like that a lot because I feel like that allows people to get engaged with the game. Although some people are probably never going to get back to the game because the series and the gameplay of the game is so different.
It is so different.
And the community is different too.
Yeah.
Very different.
So talking about that, I never actually got to try League of Legends. Never played it.
I tried it.
Not your cup of tea?
It is a different world. It is stuck in the early 2000s internet is the best way I can put it.
I mean, nothing's wrong with that.
No, but
it's just if you're into the top-down view games, I feel like you're going to like it.
I'm talking about the community, though.
Oh, the community?
They are not welcoming to new players. At least in my experience and what my friends experienced with that game, it's such a high skill curve. It's just not welcoming. And that's why you see the memes of like League of Legends player not recommending their own game.
Well, if this says anything, the numbers for League of Legends censorship skyrocketed.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's either if you
especially with the skins too.
Yeah, if you either like download just to try it out, or the original players dropped because of all these changes. But overall, the numbers have skyrocketed. Oh yeah, since then.
I wonder if they're going to make any other big changes to the game, like change the graphics, anything. Okay.
I don't know.
There's a difference in quality of like, with me playing the game, there's a difference in quality of like the original skins and the series skins.
And you know what's funny about the, skins for like certain characters? Riot Games has confirmed that, the skin, like the other skins for like certain characters are just a different character in a different universe. That's all it is. Like, it's not the same character. It's a different character in a different universe.
I would like to see Arcane or whatever spin-off series in the future like to implement that. I mean, they kind of did it with the alternate universe now.
And it's funny because some of the musical bands that they have in the games are in our reality too, and they actually make music. And I never knew that was a thing.
I love.
I thought that was really cool.
Imagine Dragons in Arcane.
Like, as in, like, they're like League of Legends, like, musical bands are in our reality. Like, it's not our bands in their reality, it's their bands in our reality.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I find that interesting, so I'm like, I'm gonna take a listen, ? So, like, they have their own, like, K-pop, they have their own, like, it's really interesting.
I'd like to see how it goes in the future.
It's funny because they talked about when I was watching this video, they were talking about with all the alternate timelines, as in the comic book series and all that. They were just not sure on what they want for the timeline. That's why when they came out with the show, they're like, "This is what we want." And the fact that they recently said this is going to be the canon timeline, because the show was.
I like that.
The show was just a test to see where it would go.
I like it. I'm curious. I'm very well curious because we already know that Riot has other properties like Valorant, the most recent game that came out. I think I might be wrong, but it's the game that I personally would know. Would you ever think games like Valorant ever get a show? Would you think? Because we already know.
So, like, are you asking? I mean, the show was PvP that got. Technically, it's a PvP campaign game, but Valorant is just straight PvP, though.
True.
So I don't know.
I don't know either, because right now the current plot of Valorant is kind of messy already, even though the game's kind of new. It's just like, oh, there's a mirror world and there's a thing called a corrupt. It's like,
I mean, it's like Apex Legends. There's a story.
There's a story
inside a PvP game, which is interesting.
That is interesting. I'll give it that, especially with how the directions are going. But yeah.
That's all I have for that on. We got a few minutes. So I'm gonna have my last theory which is, where is Echo? So this kind of just jumps into like the different timelines that we see in the last act. Jace's universe we see is where Hextech is like completely evil. All right.
Wait, which universe are we talking about?
Jace's universe.
Oh yeah,
is completely evil, while Heimerdinger and Echo is completely.
It's not there.
It's not there. It's not a thing. And if so, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's for good. And as you realize, Heimerdinger was so excited to the point where even Echo's like, "Why are you doing this? Like, what are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
So I find that interesting.
It is very interesting. I was very confused for a good while. I was like, "Where's Jace? Is this the future?" In a way, it was. Although, unrelated. I'm very confused of like where older Victor takes in all of Jace's universe, like the universe he went to.
I think he was just jumping timelines, probably.
Probably, but I gotta know what made him into like.
Oh, are you talking about the old
old one?
So that's definitely from a different universe. That would be that one. Okay. I feel like that's the result. Like the result if things went that way specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can totally tell Victor was like, yeah, don't do this. we this is not what we wanted.
Mm-hmm. And
trust me.
Current Victor's like, what? Older me said that.
Yeah, what? No way. And it's funny because you get to see you get to see both sides of Echo, the rich Echo and the poor Echo, and it's funny to see like their different sides of how much one knows than the other.
Oh yeah, well, how much knows one another towards like personally, really, like especially Powder. Like he kept on getting headaches of every single old face and like people he would know. It's heart wrenching. It really hurt me the day that I saw the details of that. Like it's like, wow, it's like an alternate universe where you could have seen all your friends together, happy and old, growing with you.
It's funny because I didn't know this is how they were releasing. The show was like 3 episodes each every once in a while. I think it's like 3 episodes per week. I'm guessing that's how they were doing. Mm-hmm. I wasn't following. I just thought all I heard was so much about Arcane for this past month. And I was like, did the whole show just... Because I thought it was like season 1, all the episodes came out at once. So it's like, okay, that's why I grinded the whole show all at once. And then that's when I texted him like, hey, did the whole show come out? And you're like, No.
No.
I was like, oh, that makes sense now.
Here's the thing, though. It kind of came in perfectly in time with the show.
It did. It came out yesterday, and then we watched it today.
Yeah, we watched it together today. Great experience. It was, I would dare say, one of the cinematic animated shows I've ever seen in a good while. I mean, unless, can you think of any?
The Spider-Verse movies.
That's a show.
Oh, as a show?
Yeah.
Loki. It goes with alternate universes and stuff.
True.
But it's not animated, but...
Haha, so I win.
Yeah, I guess you win. That I can think of. I don't watch shows that often. I'm not a big TV person. TV shows to me takes a lot of commitment.
True. I'm the exact same way. Recently, especially with social media kind of spoiling it, it just kind of doesn't motivate me to watch as much. But nonetheless, having to watch new stuff like this, it really does motivate me to watch more.
And it's funny because the only reason why, because I'm the type of person, I don't like watching stuff that are popular. That's just me. I don't know why. Never have been. That's why I didn't like the Avengers, and I'm just now starting to get into it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, the first Avengers was good. I watched the second one, it was good. Then I tried to watch the third one, I'm like, okay, why are these all the same formula? They're all in a meeting for 30 minutes, action for 10 minutes, and the rest was boring. Like, what is going on?
Yeah. It only kind of worked once, and it definitely did work on Endgame, but it definitely is going to be a struggle for them going forward.
But I never really liked stuff that was popular. And when you mentioned this, and I was like, I swear I've seen this before. So when I saw it, I'm like, I remember liking this when season 1 came out, and I only seen episodes 1 and 2, and I was really into it. And it kind of sounds very counterintuitive that I didn't watch and continue it, but I just completely forgot about it because I was watching another new show that I was introduced to at that time.
What's that one show?
It wasn't a new show. It was like, it was about where these kids go to prison for a day. I don't.
Is it called Dirt or Hole?
No. That Holes is a movie, but this is a show where they would actually have parents to send a form to take these kids to go to prison for a day to straighten up their attitude and personality.
The only thing I can think of is that one episode from Phineas and Ferb.
Let me. Beyond Scared Straight, that's what it's called. It's a reality show, so if that helps.
Is it real?
Who knows? I have no idea. Shows like this, I don't know if it's real. Either way, it was very entertaining to watch. Mm-hmm. It's where they literally bring in kids into a prison and see what it's like to live in, to be in prison for a day.
Gotcha.
It's really interesting.
I gotta take a look at that.
It's on Hulu if you want to watch it.
Hulu, that's interesting.
It's on Hulu, Disney Plus for some reason, which is surprising.
That is also surprising too.
But it's on Hulu.
I noticed that a lot. With you content on Hulu, they kind of go to Disney as well. I wonder if that shows where Hulu's market's gonna go.
I don't know. But
I wish we get to see more Victor.
I hope so too. I hope so. All right. Do you have anything that you would like to promote or shout out before you get going?
I know it might be a social media that might be gone in the next couple of months, but I have a TikTok, Umbra Even, and I also have a Blue Sky.
I forgot TikTok's going away.
Huh?
I forgot TikTok's going away.
Yeah, there's a lot of talks about it, especially with the elected president and where that's going to go, but who knows? There's a lot of talks about it. We're going to have to see how it goes.
We'll have to talk about it sometime on my show.
Sounds good.
Right.
Until then, thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you for coming back on. I swear you're on every other show.
Hey, I like being here.
I'm glad you're on. You're always welcome to come back on. It's always fun having you back on.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, hopefully you get some sleep.
I shall.
Me, on the other hand, I got 4 hours left.
Stay strong, soldier. You got finals. Stay strong.
I am staying strong as possible.
That goes to everyone that's also dealing with finals as well. Everyone has different fields to study in, but nonetheless, work hard. It's all worth it in the end.
Yes, please, everyone, work hard.
You're getting
into
debt,
strong.
So you kind of have to.
Yeah, just a little bit. All right. Thank you for coming on. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself.
Enjoyed.
You told me to watch this, and I was like, sure.
I love Arcane. This is where I shine the most.
I shine the brightest now, I guess.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, we'll see you guys on in about 15 minutes. I'll come back on at 11:45. So yeah, this is AJ with the Plexi Film Show. I'll see you guys in about 15 minutes. Enjoy the amazing soundtrack of Arcane. See you guys later. Hello everyone, welcome back to WXUT 88.3, Toledo's only alternative, and I'm going to be continuing on with Arcane. And Arcane is an amazing show. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but you should definitely watch it. It's a great show. All right, so I'm going to be talking about the fun facts. So let me get on started. So I'm just going to start listing them off, and if I have anything to talk about them, I will. Caitlin's father comes from Ionia. The teddy bear in the box has Violet written on it, which is funny because Vi is shortened for Violet, so I thought that was pretty cool. After next Jinx boom, like her second explosion as she did, the box falls out and you see Vi's teddy bear and the device Jinx would use to find her. The money currency is called bronze washers, which is interesting because it literally just looks like a gear, which is very interesting. Caitlin's camera was created by Talus's family, and there is no other camera like that, which is interesting because I don't remember a camera in this show, and if so, it wasn't that crazy important, even though it probably was, but I find that interesting. Caitlin shoots her father's weapon in episode 5, and I find that interesting because I do remember, I think they hinted it or showed us or told us in the show that it was her dad's weapon. I don't remember, but I do remember that. On one of the balconies, there was Caitlin's cupcakes, which is funny because Vi calls Caitlin Cupcake, which goes well with what Caitlin does, which is making cupcakes. Caramans have an obsession with their mark. They even have it on their plates with their logo on it, which is very weird. But you know, you got to do what you got to do to leave your marking, I guess. In the game, there's a plated by powder. We could also play, in a game, the game that she plays in it was like not an arcade game, but it was like one of those games that you would see at the fair or just randomly at any fairs, honestly, is where she would shoot like a Nerf gun at like these spinning targets. And that game specifically, you can play it in the event Riot X Arcane, which is probably one of the events in League of Legends. So yeah. Jace's mother, after rescue, she lost her fingers, which was replaced by mechanical fingers, which I find really interesting because Victor does the exact same thing, but instead of fingers, it is his legs. In a conversation between Jace and Victor, they emphasize the word crank, which is a reference to Blitzcrank, which was created by Victor. Victor's invention, Hexcore, references his old passive in the game, which is his old weapon, which is really cool because a lot of these fun facts that I'm realizing are, I mean, sure, like the show is about the game, of course, that makes sense, but it's a lot of stuff that is referenced to the game and very heavy inspirational, even though this show has changed the game itself to just make this show the canon timeline, which is very interesting because the original timeline that they probably had, even though there wasn't fully fledged one, there was just multiple timelines. I feel like that is no longer going to be what they quote was the original canon timeline. All right. Sky studies, like her studies that she did before she passed away. She was just always studying about how Hexcore is controlled, like how to control it specifically. Behind Jinx's rocket, we can see a red moon. This is a reference to the Blood Moon universe in the game. It is possible that Jinx and Vi isn't really blood sisters because when they saw her killed mother, only Vi cried, which seems like it could be fake or just a fan theory rather than a fun fact. But it did make me think and make me want to do more research about it and look more into their family history. Savika's alcohol has a bilge watermark. Jace and Mel's relationship can be fake because there is a moment where Mel called Jace investment, which is an insane move of Mel, but good for her, I guess. I don't remember how to say Jace's mother's name, but I think it's Hymena or Zymena. I don't remember which one it is the name of Jace's mother. When Jinx walks on the bridge, she hums the music from the start of the series, which I actually noticed that watching it, and I was like, that sounds familiar. And then I think they played the music in the background of this afterwards or right after the scene. I don't remember, but I do remember. I was like, oh my gosh. Jace plays guitar, which is a really cool fun fact because his guitar is hinted throughout the show. Jace wears a crystal in his bracelet that he got from a mage who saved him and his mother, which is shown and talked about in the show, which is very interesting because he also shows it as a curse at the exact same time. So, on Vi's splash art, she wears Clagger's glasses, which you would see Clagger's glasses also in Jinx's bedroom, Jinx's laboratory, whatever you want to call it. You see Clagger's glasses all over the place, or references to Clagger. Piltover is only 200 years old, while Bilgewater is younger than that, way younger. Shimmer was used as narcotics, which is what we brought up earlier in the earlier conversations of the show, which is so true because you see it a lot when you go down in the underground. I think that's what it's called, the Undercity, whatever you want to call it. But you see a lot of them using as narcotics, which is insane. But I related to it because when Quinn talked about why don't they all react the same way as in some of the mutations, I think it's because of the quantity and the way it's injected. If you look at Vander, he was, I think it was just literally injected into his body, bloodline, while the rest is sure narcotics or just as to repair something. It betters them, but it's really confusing, the science behind Shimmer. I really want to look more into that actually before I say anything else, but that is fun. In prison, Vi is not really in the cell. She's kind of in her own personal isolation, which seems counterintuitive, but that's besides the point. Vi calls Jinx Pow Pow because the name of it's because let me restart. I can't speak. The reason why she calls Jinx Pow Pow in one of the scenes is because one of Jinx's weapons is named Pow Pow, even though Jinx's actual name is Powder, which is just shortened to Pow Pow, which is an adorable way to call your little sister that when you love her so much. All right, I think this is the end of the show. Hopefully you guys had as much fun as me and Quinn, especially. Shout out to them. So yeah, if you guys have any theories about the show or you just want to rant about it to me, please feel free to do so in my DMs on Instagram. Just look up the Plexi Film Show. I guarantee you'll find it. It's not that hard. I'm the only Plexi Film Show out there. So if you want to talk about this show or have any other show recommendations or things to talk about in the future, feel free to go ahead. I'm more than welcome to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on stuff. So yeah. This is the end of the Plexi Film Show. I'm going to be playing the soundtrack for the rest of the time. So yeah, hopefully you guys have a great night. Push through the struggles of finals week coming up, or this weird week of Thanksgiving, and then last week of classes, and then finals. Push through it. We're almost there. I know you guys got this. I believe in you guys. All right. I love you guys so much. Keep going. Have a good night, guys. I'll talk to you later.